wanted to have something in the middle of the space above, hanging. It just so happened that, given the nature of the architecture of the room, a dimensional square felt right. And we knew that it had to be clear, so everyone could see it. I felt that there was something really interesting in enclosing the characters in this glass box.
In this theater, in which I love, is you have the feeling you can grasp or grab the actors. It's a very intimate space and you're very close. And we know from sound design, when you have a sound coming from the back of you, it's scary. Even when it's this dark rumbling sound, whatever. So you can't see anything. You just hear something coming from the back, and it's always, and that's, I think, more or less the intention, is a scaring piece. It's very, very important to have spatial sound. We've put in there by now, I think, 28 speakers for surround sound, so the room plays even acoustically a very important part in the piece. So there is an effect which is called in German Aufblende, so it's like the black in the film. It's when a scene changes. So that's a sound starting at the center of, just in front of the orchestra, going around the audience, staying for a while, and then going back and collapsing there. So it's like a black in the film, but acoustically. So that's a very important part of the piece too.
For me and Diane, the director, we wanted to get the sense of repetition, loop, you know, something that keeps repeating itself unendingly. Once we designed the box, the idea was to somehow mirror that idea in the space. That's the nature of these screens. That the idea is that it's almost like the house itself is constructed, it has exploded, and it floats in space. And the fact that it's symmetrical, for us, it has the sense of repetition, that things just keep on going. And I think it's central to the way Diane is telling the story.
We have a couple of sound layers. So we have, on the one hand, live electronics, what we call live electronics. So we capture the sound of the instruments. So we have saxophone, trombone, clarinet. We transform the sounds and give it back to the audience. We have samples, two kinds of samples. One kind is like this typical theater effect. So you have a bottle crushing, makes psh. And the other samples are all written in the score, exactly written in the score. So they are made normally out of transformed sounds of saxophone, clarinet, whatever. We transpose these sounds and it goes hand in hand with the orchestra. So we play a sample and the orchestra at the end of the sample picks up the sound. It's in tune with the orchestra. So it comes together, sound and orchestra, and it goes from sample to orchestra and orchestra back to the sample. It's easy to fall into this piece, to be immersed by all the things and to get familiar more with contemporary music. It's very difficult to play, but it's nice to listen.
It doesn't matter where you're sitting from, it's a different experience. Because every person sees something different.
Every audience member will have a certain different experience, see and perceive and focus on different things as the piece goes on.
Once you cross the threshold, you're into the world of the piece from the get-go.